I've already did both a part 1 and part 2 to this series, but today I decided to do a part 3 and cover some other head coaches that I haven't covered yet that are currently on the hot seat going into 2024. The first guy I want to talk about is Rice head coach Mike Bloomgren. I am personally surprised Rice has stuck with Bloomgren since 2018 when he was first hired. He has yet to have a winning season, but oddly enough, he has managed to have back-to-back bowl appearances, and they do seem to improve by one game every single year. But this year is going to be the make or break year for him. He's going to have a winning season this year, or else they aren't going to keep him. I'm personally surprised, like I said, that they've held on to him this long. The last few years, it looked like Mike Houston was building something in East Carolina. He went 7-5 back in 2021, and in 2022, he went 8-5 with the win over a very talented Coastal Carolina team in the Birmingham Bowl. But this year was a complete disaster. They went 2-10 and 1-7 in conference play. And prior to 2021, his first 2 years were losing seasons, and he's overall had a losing record of 24-34. He needs to get a winning season next year, or East Carolina isn't going to keep him. I'm starting to wonder if Houston is even really an FBS head coach. He did great at both the Citadel and James Madison, but I wonder whether he is actually able to win at the FBS level. Solani Katake, just a few years ago, seemed to have a great thing going at BYU. They went 11-1 back in the COVID year, and then they went 10-3 in 2021. But ever since then, things have kind of gone downhill for him. They had a very disappointing year in 2022 and went 8-5, and then in 2023, it was even worse. It was an absolute disaster as they went 5-7 and missed a bowl game, which was the first time that had happened since all the way back in 2017 in Sitake's second year at BYU. Sitake has been a very popular and liked head coach in Provo, but still, next year, he's got to at least have a winning season to be able to keep his job. The next head coach that I want to talk about is Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lea. Yes, I know that Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt, of course, but even Vanderbilt is not going to take losing forever and is eventually, at some point, going to have to draw the line. Lea, for a while, looked like he was kind of getting somewhere. As his first year, they went 3-9, which is absolutely terrible, but he was inheriting a team that did not even win a game the year before, and that was pretty decent for Vanderbilt standards. And then in 2022, his second year, they did actually almost make a bowl game. They went 5-7, again, which is terrible, but that's pretty solid for Vanderbilt standards and how bad they've been the last several years. But last year, they went 2-10, and overall, he is currently in the hot seat going into 2024. Yes, like I said earlier, as bad as Vanderbilt has always been, with a stadium that has more away teams fans than their own, still, they're not even going to tolerate losing forever and will eventually pull the plug. Now, if he wins maybe 4 games next year, he could probably stay in Nashville. Pat Narduzzi has been a successful winning head coach at Pitt, but he's been very inconsistent. And last year, he had probably his worst season there. They went 3-9, and now Narduzzi is in hot water. He most likely needs to have 8 wins next year to keep his job. But in reality, I personally think all he has to have is just a winning record of any kind. Because it's hard for me, unless if they have another losing season, it's hard for me to see Pitt fire him. I think as long as he gets them to a bowl game, has a winning season, I think he'll be just fine. After the success he had at the Division II level, Will Hall was brought up to the FBS to be the head coach at Southern Miss, but he's only had 1 winning season and bowl win, where they went 7-6. His other 2 seasons, they went 3-9. I think he made too quick of a jump from the Division II to the FBS, but still, next year he's probably got to have at least 7 or 8 wins to be able to keep his job. Stan Drayton has been a major failure at Temple and hasn't been able to bring the program back up after his 2 years as the head coach of the Owls. He's gone 3-9 both his first 2 years there, and overall his seat right now is scourging. He at least has to make a bowl game to be able to keep his job. And of course, the last guy I want to talk about is the exact same deal. Sonny Cumbie at Louisiana Tech. Cumbie, just like Drayton, has gone 3-9 his 2 years there and was supposed to elevate the program back to how it was under Skip Holtz. He was also a proven coordinator at the Power 5 level, so it looked like he would be a great hire. But no, unfortunately, he's been a major failure. He's gone 3-9 2 years in a row, and just like with Drayton, he has to make a bowl game to be able to keep his job. But that's all for this video. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Let me know what kind of video you want to see next. This is Schultz31, and peace.